teacher has been arrested for a serious crime. The mother involved in a fatal crash has been indicted for the death of her 2-year-old daughter. And a popular tea store has closed their doors. Those stories and more. I'm James Bouligny, and this is Live. We'll get to the news in a minute, but first, whether you need a personal loan to consolidate debt, a credit card full of perks, or a checking account that protects you and your money, Texas Trust Credit Union has your back. There are currently 2 locations in San Angelo to serve you. Their newest location is at 3712 FM 2288, right behind the Chick-fil-A on Sherwood Way, and that's pretty convenient for those people there in the Bluffs and in Southland. The other location is downtown at 337 West Toohig Avenue, and they're all over North Texas. To find out where, visit Texas Trust Credit Union online at texastrustcu.org. That's Texas Trust and the letters cu.org. Now, on to the news. Starting things off, a Wall ISD teacher has been arrested for online solicitation of a minor. 33-year-old Joshua Carroll was booked into the Tom Green County Jail on May 13th by the Tom Green County Sheriff's Office. Carroll was an assistant band director out at Wall, and a statement from the district says that Wall has taken the necessary steps to ensure the safety of their students. Wall Superintendent Russell Dacey said that they are cooperating fully with the Tom Green County Sheriff's Office, and more information will be released in the future. Carroll has been placed on administrative leave at the moment. This is a developing story, and this will be updated as more information becomes relevant. The mother who was involved in a fatal crash on US 87 North has been indicted for criminally negligent homicide. 27-year-old Morgan Palmore was indicted for not securely buckling her 2-year-old child in her car that was then rear-ended by a semi-truck. All the vehicles involved in the crash ended up rolling over, and the 2-year-old, Maslin Leach, was pronounced dead at the scene. Palmore was arrested today for the indictment and has since been released. The San Angelo Live mobile app is the best in the business. No, seriously. Download it on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. It's free and always keeps you up to date with news in San Angelo. Texas rapper The Mexican OT is set to perform at the San Angelo River Stage. On Friday, June 5th, the Mexican OT will be performing at the Bill Ayler Memorial River Stage, located at 16 East Avenue A at 6:30. He has about 6.7 million listeners on Spotify and will perform with Maxo Cream and Drody. More performers are scheduled to appear as well. Go to sanangelive.com for ticket details. A popular tea shop has closed their doors. Tea to Go, located at 4126 Sunset Drive, has a sign on the door that says they have closed the location and are under new ownership. Tea to Go specialized in energy drinks and, of course, tea. While the sign says that there are new owners, no reopen date was given, as the sign just says they'll be reopening soon. Into weather right now, it's 89 degrees outside, and tonight the low drops to 67. There's also a 10% chance of storms, but don't expect to see any rain in San Angelo. Tomorrow the high jumps up to 93 with a low of 67 tomorrow night. It'll also be partly cloudy out and a little breezy. Wednesday, heading into Thursday, there's a 50% chance of a chance of storms with a high on Thursday of 89. Thursday night, the low drops to 61s, and those storms should be moving out of the area. On Friday, it'll be sunny out with a high of 88. Seems like a beautiful day. And Saturday, the heat cranks up with a high of 96, and then the low drops out to about 68. When we come back, I'll talk about the UIL State Tennis Meet and the Concho Valley athletes that earned a spot, and then LaQueta Shelburne stops by. But first, a word from the Bass Bunch.
My Uncle Perk once said, "Todd, you have to think anyway, so why not think big?" And that's where I come up with a giant tag sale. Thanks, Uncle Perk.
Right now, during our giant tag sale, you can get a new 2023 Nissan Armada and get 11 grand in total savings.
Don't miss our giant tag sale, only at Jim Bass Cars and Trucks, Houston, Hart, and Arden Road, or 24/7 at bassbunch.com.
In sports, the Concho Valley is sending some athletes to the UIL State Tennis Tournament in San Antonio. Let's list off some names because that went so well yesterday. In 1A, Menard is sending Wyatt Terrell, Very Best is sending Emily Scott, and Erie County and Robert Lee are sending siblings, Melanie Rainey and Bailey Rainey from Erie County, and Brenner and Braden Sherwood from Robert Lee. In 2A, Mason is sending what I can only assume is the entire tennis team. Mason Hatfield, Keegan Ratliff, Carlton Schmidt, Kelton Jordan, Cade Dudley, Landry Lawler, Emma McCrae, Heidi Smith, Jake Lynn Zermino, Scout Magnus, Cooper Ratliff, Jack Gillespie, Lucy Rochat, and Taylor Birchenwall are all going for Mason. Yeah, that's probably their entire tennis team. Reagan County has Levi Knight, Colton Kirkendall, and Ashley Lopez representing them. Sterling City sent a pair of athletes in Rowdy Ferguson and Jaden Parrish. Miles sent Delane Seiler, and Christoffel sent Zoe Askins. In 3A, Wall sent Joseph Malone, Caitlin Holtman, Avery Jameson, Andy McCasland, and Kimbry and Bryson Hurt. Also in sports news, SAISD has announced the hiring or promotions of Angelique Woodson as their new head girls basketball coach and Arsenio Jeter as their new head boys coach. Congratulations to Coach Woodson and Coach Jeter. They've been there at Central for a couple years now, so I expect the players to know them pretty well, and they should get the most out of their teams. But back to tennis. Good luck to all the tennis standouts at state, and for more sports in the Concho Valley, keep checking SandraLive.com.
It's hard to believe how reckless some people can be and how hard they fight against real victims. You need a partner who consistently beats the giants and who will never, ever flinch.
And welcome back to the show. Joining me today again is LaQueta Shelburne with the Concho Valley Republican Women.
Yes.
And I'm glad you're here because the state convention, Republican convention's next week.
Yeah, it's breathing down our neck.
And that's a big deal. That's when Texas Republicans elect delegates to the national convention, and they do a lot of business, and there's the platform that's developed. So, but because of that, your monthly meetings has been moved to this week.
Yes, it has. It's this Thursday, and we have a highly charged topic, and we've invited Dr. Brian Kutzinger from ASU. He's a professor of economics, and he's the one that was instrumental in bringing Steve Forbes to San Angelo. I think people will be interested in this. I know you say inflation, and people are like, they're kind of lukewarm on that. I think it is a very interesting subject. I think it's something that people will be interested in as we move toward the election, because it's impacting everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or you're poor or you consider yourself somewhere in between. It is impacting us. And even the economic reports today are saying that inflation is hotter than we anticipated it was.
Well, and it's no secret that gas costs more, food costs more, eggs, bread, milk costs more today than it did in 2020, and that's a concern.
It's a very big concern.
And people vote that way.
They vote their dollars, and they usually tend to vote where the dollars are treated best, or their dollars are treated best. It kind of follows that trend. But I think a lot of people don't really understand what caused inflation and how that has happened. And,
okay.
Not laying the blame on anybody or any particular political group. But I just think you need to understand what that is doing and how it's eroding your money. And it's no secret that we all know that when we retire, that what we're paying today is probably going to cost us more in 5 years and all that. But this is hyperinflation. This is inflation like we have not seen since the 70s and 80s. And so for those people who did not experience that in the past, for them to experience it now is very important. And for those who can remember that, they need to go back and reflect on how did that get resolved.
And you're a speaker this week and knows all that.
Oh, he knows all that. He teaches all that.
All right. And talk to me, when and where is the meeting? It's at Bentwood.
Okay, the meeting is at Bentwood. It starts at 11:30, and we try to end at 1 o'clock. Last time we were talking about the trafficking of children, and that went a little bit over 1 o'clock. Highly, highly informative meeting. The people that were there were staying and asking additional questions of the young man that was there. That was a great meeting, and it was, unfortunately, we were impacted by the ADAC program that was going on
Right,
in conjunction at the same place. But it was a great meeting, and we're having some just wonderful speakers. We have another, we're coming up in June. We've got 2 or 3 things that are going on. Once we get back from the state convention, and we've got a lot of people going, that's why we had to move this.
Yeah.
Because we'll actually be beginning on the 23rd, which would be our normal meeting date. But on the 6th, Sharon Kulig, who is our educational partner on our board, has come up with an idea. We're going to partner with First Methodist Church, with the Silver-Haired Legislature, and with some of the local people like the Allied Healthcare Group, a lot of our local first responders, the fire department, and we're going to be talking about how do you avoid falling.
Okay.
And most everybody will stop and think about someone they know that has either fallen and been left crippled or permanently damaged by that, or has actually succumbed to a fall. And so we're going to have a 2-hour forum down at First Methodist Church, and from 6 to 8 on Thursday, June the 6th.
Okay.
And we are inviting in some medical professionals. We're inviting in some of the fire department, the first responders, and they're going to give us some ideas on, what's causing this, because we're seeing a large number of falls. And a lot of people would say, well, it's just because you're elderly. It's not that. There's a lot of things, because people are not just necessarily elderly that are falling. But how do we prevent that? If you know you're going to fall, how do you keep from harming yourself in such a way that you could be permanently damaged? So Sharon Kulig is the one that's chairing that up, and I actually have got her number. So if you want to call her, you can call her at 325-212-4047, or you can check that out on the cvrw.org website. There'll be some information coming up on that shortly. She is working on some more things that we will be publicizing on there. But it's from 6 to 8 on June the 6th. And we're not going to charge anything for that. It's open to everybody. It is definitely non-political. And we want people to come. We want you to become more informed, and we want you to help yourself, and try to help your family. So we hope that you will come and take advantage of that. It's we feel like a very timely subject, because we've had some people in our community, Judith Hirschfield being one, who fell and succumbed to her fall. And so if you just stop and think about it, some people, and there's been some high-profile people who have been lost over the last several months. We think that, this is something that is a timely thing. We think it's something that's health-wise you need to know some more about. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. And then there's a couple of things that I want to tell you about. There are 2 men in this community who happen to be members of my church.
Okay.
And you're going to know their names when I tell you. And they are fixing to turn 100 years old.
Oh.
They are also World War II veterans.
Okay.
And so Phil George and Dr. Maurice Shelton both have served our communities as educators on the university level. And in this summer, they will turn 100 years old. And I just think it is absolutely unbelievable that we have 2 of these icons in not only our community, but our state and our nation living right amongst us. And for those of you who know those men, they are just wonderful jewels in the crown of San Angelo. So I know that there are things planned for them, but if you want to get involved on maybe doing some other little things for them, you can either call my office at 325-944-9447, or you can call my church at 325-655-8981. They both go to my church, and I mentioned that to my preacher. He didn't realize that both of them were turning 100 within just a few weeks of each other.
Wow.
So it's kind of exciting to think about that they've lived that long, they've seen that much history.
And that is remarkable, and so few people make it to 100 years old.
It's just wonderful.
I just passed 60 last year, and I thought that was doing good, but that's nowhere near where these
to
guys
live
are.
all the life that they've lived, it's just unreal.
And they've been contributors to society, and that
unreal.
that is
Unreal.
That's remarkable.
We have just got so many things going on, and our group is looking forward to having Charles Perry come and speak to us in June.
Okay.
And so we think Senator Perry also is going to bring us up to snuff on some stuff that's going on at the state level.
There's a lot of stuff going to happen there. They're gearing up for another legislative session come January. And there's rumblings about school finance and school choice and a lot of other issues. So we'll see.
And I know this is something else too, and it's not just a Republican or Democratic issue. We need volunteers when it comes to voter time. People need to help out. You need to be there to help, people vote. You have to be trained. You can't just go out there and say, I'm here, I'm going to help, So they need to be calling Vanna's office, and they need to be getting trained to do all that. And we hear that if we don't do that, they're going to have to shut down some of these areas. We're going to have to consolidate and that's going to make it less convenient for some people to vote. So I'm disappointed that with the volunteer base that we have in San Angelo, and we're good at this, you all. We're good at volunteering. We're good at stepping up. We need to make sure that we have the proper people in place to help with these voting and the elections, to make sure we have the proper amount of people so that we help these people that are counting those votes and doing the right thing for all of us. So if you are inclined to do that, I think you should step up.
Well, and you're absolutely right. Vanna Hudson at the Tom Green County Elections Office is always working hard to find volunteers and poll workers and precinct judges and precinct chairs, and
it's a hard job.
And the law, both state and federal law, require a number of people to be present at those polls and to transport votes, the equipment from the polling location back down to the election administrator's office. It just takes a lot of manpower.
It does. It takes a lot of manpower, and I think we sometimes just lose sight of that. We just think, well, it just happens. Well, it doesn't just happen. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that are helping do all that, and like I said, we're known for our volunteerism. We're known to be the people that stand up and get it done, and that's what we need to do.
Well, we have the runoff election. They haven't called it yet, but if it looks like they will, and it looks like it'll be June 15th. But there's also the November general election, which is huge, and the best turnout we've had, I think, has been right around 50% for a general election.
That's pathetic.
And it is. That means 50% of people who are eligible to vote in a presidential election just don't go vote, that leaves it to the rest of us to decide who's in charge.
That's right. Don't vote, can't speak.
All right, there you go. LaQueta, thanks for being here.
Thank you. I hope you all will come out. We've got some wonderful things, and we love people. We want people to come.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll go back to you guys.
When it comes to unique pieces you can't find anywhere else, Concho's Diamonds and Coins is your one-stop shop. With over 24 years in the diamond and coin industry, Concho's Diamonds and Coins is West Texas's choice for diamonds, jewelry, coins, silver, and gold. Owner Bill Concho stands by his work and offers free consultations, including estate jewelry. Don't just trust anyone with your valuables. Come see the staff at Concho's at 1016 West Beauregard in San Angelo.
Thanks for watching the Live Daily News Show, the only locally owned live news show in the Concho Valley. Go like us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and other social media platforms, and download the San Angelo Live mobile app today to stay up to date on all the news from in and around the Concho Valley. Thanks again, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.